We'll go to the teleconference.
Yes, our first question comes from Keith Merritt from the Palm Beach Post. Please go ahead.
Hey, Dale, how are you?
Good.
You've obviously had a chance to meet, a lot of interesting people throughout your career, actors, singers, athletes, presidents. Who's one person you've come across that you were really surprised to find out was a NASCAR or a racing fan?
Oh, man, well, that's tough to say. I really appreciated Leanne Rimes for being so kind to me. I met her a couple times, most recently in Michigan, and her husband was a big fan, and she, too, is a big fan. And they were just really, really – she was always just really pleasant. And I didn't know it at the time, but to be able to speak to the president over the telephone after winning the Daytona 500, I didn't know it. I was so naive at the time and just in a zone because of the win. And I look back on that and can't even recall the conversation, but I'm proud of that. I know for a fact that he was aware of who I was and what I did and possibly a fan. But Dierks Bentley's a big fan. That was kind of cool. We've become kind of pretty good friends. I got a phone call from Dwight Yoakam a year ago. We've talked on the phone a couple times since. He's a fan. In 2001, I sent Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters a guitar, and he got the guitar 2 days before my dad was killed, so he played the guitar after he found out about the whole story and who I was and everything. He played it on a couple shows the next several months, and then he tried to call me, left me a message, and I was too scared to call him back. And I regret that one. And I mean, I've met a lot of different people, but it surprises you, I guess, to more so to meet the people that don't know much about the sport and then run into them down the road after they've experienced it. You bring a lot of guys like McConaughey and people like that who have never really been around this, and then they come here and experience it and see it, and then you see them 6 months down the road and they become this fan. That's really great. That's what I like about it. Because everybody we show this to typically falls in love with it.
The next question.
Yes, our next phone question comes from Kay Presto from CarsInCompetition.com. Please go ahead.
Hi, Dale. How you doing?
Good.
I have two questions for you. You've already won the Daytona 500, and you had 1 year under your belt at the car tomorrow, so you know what you need in the way of driving it, and Tony knows what it needs in the way of setting it up. What do you think it's going to take to win the Daytona this year with that car in the second season?
Well, I don't know. There's I got to be fast. I know that. That was pretty apparent. I couldn't catch when the 18 and the 11 and those guys were leading last year, man. You couldn't even get to them. You got to handle good. They were handling really good and had some good power, but we just got to get our car to handle a little bit better. I think I've wrecked out of the last two Daytona 500s, or maybe I finished ninth last year or something like that, but I've not finished well, done well near the end of the races, making wrong choices, getting crashed out or just picking the wrong line and finishing bad. But you just got to make the right choices near the end of the Daytona 500. The night falls and the grip comes. The track gets a lot more grip, and the two-wide racing becomes more common. And if you're not in the front of one of them lines, you're kind of stuck where you are. So you got to make sure you're near the front of that thing just about all day. And you got to think in your back of your mind, every battle for every position is a potential battle for the win. If you think for 1 minute that I'll just let this guy go because it's so early in the race, that could have been the pass that lost you the race. So, especially, like I said, because it gets cooler, and you get the grip in, it's harder to pass. What was the other question?
You're in the Bud Shootout this year, and how do you like NASCAR's expanding it to 28 entries this year?
Well, I wish you wouldn't ask me because I didn't want to talk about it. But
Oh.
Nah, I don't like the new format. I like you had a race for guys who had won poles. You had a race for guys who won races in the middle of the season. And now neither one of those are hardly recognizable. And if NASCAR, I haven't asked NASCAR why they changed it. So I don't feel like I can rightfully say much without giving them the opportunity to defend themselves for their reasons. But apparently there were some reasons they changed it. And it's obviously better for the manufacturers with this new format for the shootout. But it's less about why the race was started in the first place. And it just sucks because I'm such a historian of the sport, and I just like all the history, and I like all the cool things about the history, and I like looking back on the guys who were in this race in the 80s and 90s and why they were in it and how they got in it and who missed it the next year and made it the next year. And I don't know, it just sort of things change. Maybe there's nothing wrong with this new format. Maybe I just hate change, but I don't like it. So I like the old format.